My name is Megan. I'm the founder of Rooted Regeneration. So excited about your interest and curiosity in the path of detoxification and regeneration. I wanted to take some time to talk about what this path is, how I ended up here, what it means to me, and what I've witnessed unfold in the lives of those who are walking parallel paths of regeneration themselves. I dealt with my own physical, emotional, psychological health challenges from a really young age that led to me having my gallbladder removed when I was 16, to the development of endometriosis in my early 20s. My mom was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. My dog had an autoimmune disease. And through this journey, I began to seek and deeply desire what it means to cultivate lasting, real healing. I studied many different philosophies, religious texts, dietary perspectives, and through that journey, found my way to mindfulness, meditation, present moment awareness. I started deepening my relationship with nature and returning to the kind of relationship that had cultivated naturally in my childhood. I grew up in South Louisiana, so I spent a large portion of my childhood playing in the marshes and the swamps, and so much time outdoors, so much time diving deep into the awe and wonder of the ordinary magic of the present moment, the ordinary magic of nature and the bugs and the plants and the animals. I was a sensitive child that cared deeply about the world and its creatures and its people, and I think that this sensitivity is what led to the development of some distortions and dis-ease in my body as I suppressed emotions that I was not able to process at that time. And so I deepened my awareness of the present moment with mindfulness and meditation. I continued my seeking. I explored psychedelics. I traveled around the world. And I experienced profound healing of my psychological and emotional state over these years, nestled in the arms of our great Mother Earth, being washed clean in her rain waters, surrendering and laying body on the earth and releasing my troubles and feeling the microbes just take it and turn it into food. My journey has very much been a love affair with nature. And along that way, throughout that journey, that seed of interest in the healing of the physical body remained alive. This seed that was planted in me from a really young age, from facing my own health troubles and my mother's. This seeking eventually led me to the path of regenerative health. What I'd found in myself and all the beautiful people around me is that sometimes this journey of spiritual healing and spiritual seeking leads to a neglecting of the body, sometimes irreverently referring to the body as a meat suit. So when I found the path of regenerative health and I learned about the state of the soil and the farming system and the chemicals and the heavy metals and the environment and how these things impact our bodies today, when I began to heal my gut and open the flow of my lymphatic fluids, release those neurotoxins and carcinogenic chemicals from my body, deeply nourish my cells, and bring myself into a place of mineral richness, I finally understood that the spiritual practice and the spiritual seeking has a ceiling, and that ceiling opens up whenever we balance our hormones and we're producing the proper levels of serotonin and dopamine again. We're liberated from neurotoxins, and the signal of the soul is truly able to be received and integrated in the mitochondria and transmitted into the field. There are essentially three groups of people that come through and work with me in this program. I've worked with people like my mother who feel that they are at the end of the line with the medical system, have received many diagnoses and no real answers of how to get to the root. My mother no longer has her autoimmune condition. I've seen many people with autoimmune conditions, conditions that are labeled genetic and incurable. I've seen these people take their sovereignty back and be liberated of these labels and diagnoses. I work with people who don't necessarily have diagnoses, but are feeling tired or run down or like they're not functioning as optimally as they know that they could. And they just want to feel better, and they just want to know their body better, and they just want to work through their patterns of addiction or suppression or their relationship to food. And I work with people who feel great and perhaps are on a deep spiritual journey and have been eating really clean and healthy for a long time, but want to go deeper and want to work out heavy metals and chemicals and neurotoxins and parasites, do it in a way that's safe and deeply educated and supported by science. Balancing the science and the spirituality is my thing. And so all that to say, this program really is for everyone. I don't have strict or rigid dietary parameters outside of the fact that I do ask that everyone eats a whole foods-based diet. I do personal assessments for everyone that comes through the program, and so there's an extensive health questionnaire that you'll fill out letting me know where you're at, where you've been, and from that I'm able to create a protocol that is specific to you. It's a 12-week program, and so what's included when you sign up are 12 weekly educational calls and 12 weekly Q&As, and so that's 2 calls a week with me. And the educational calls expand and build upon themselves, and so we start with talking about the terrain and the physiology of the human body, cellular health, the farming system and the soil and the food, and the nourishment gap that has occurred as a result of modern farming. We talk about practical solutions. And then we move through talking about water and emotions and the grief that arises whenever we begin to open up the fluids in our physical body. The emotional waters begin to flow as well. We move on to light, and we talk about the frequencies of light, the light that comes from the sun, the light that is produced in our mitochondria every time that we go through the ATP process. And then we move into an integration phase where we talk about values and service and community and how to integrate this new way of living and relating to the earth, this path of regeneration, into our being so that it can become an offering to this world. The path of regeneration is the honoring of the physical vessel of the body that is the container for the frequency of the soul. It's removing those things that interrupt the signal of your soul. It is treating yourself with reverence and treating life with reverence, and in turn treating this world that you inhabit with reverence. It is deepening your relationship to the things that you are consuming. It is deep present moment awareness, love practice. And so you will receive the twice weekly calls with me, as well as a Qigong practice on Friday, access to lots of educational materials, a custom protocol written by me, and a community of people who are walking this path together and supporting each other. In order to construct the protocol, I will give you that questionnaire that I mentioned that will assess your health history, and also at the end I ask what your supplement budget is. Supplements are not included in the program because this is not a one-size-fits-all program. Everyone has their own health history, everyone has their own goals, and people are wanting different things. And so as a result, I ask what your supplement budget is, and I make your protocol fit within that budget. I don't work with anything synthetic or isolated, and the purpose of the supplements is to make sure that your cells are deeply nourished to support you in this process, that you're working with herbs to support the fluidity of your lymphatic system, the opening of your kidneys, the moving of your bowels, working with binders to grab those heavy metals, chemicals, neurotoxins, working with things to kill parasites when we get to the part of the protocol that eliminates pathogens. All in all, this is a path of sovereignty that I am personally walking, a path of the honoring of the instrument of the body for the liberation of the song of the soul. And so I simply invite those who feel called to join me in that. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best in your journey through this world.